Greg's class.
Today's topic is information fluency. Information fluency is the study of the ways in which your language is, to use redundant words, informationally fluent. I have lots of students all the time who write to me saying, I'm applying to Harvard, or I'm applying to JP Morgan, or some really intense and scary either, famous school or famous company. And they always ask me how they can spice up their language a little bit, how they can use bigger words, specifically bigger words. And a lot of things that I see in both essays and also in the application process is I see people using the Thesaurus app to find those bigger words. Now, doing that is in many ways a betrayal of information fluency. We've spoken this semester so far a whole bunch about our relationships to our audience. One of the biggest things you should be doing when you're writing is trying to be clear. You should have a relationship with your reader where they feel like they're not being intimidated by the words that you're using. One, here's why this is problematic. One, if you don't know the words, you're not going to use them correctly anyway. Two, anyone who is intelligent and worth their salt doesn't care the size of the words that you use. They want you to use language and tell your story in whatever way that you can, and in a way that is proficient and that's true to your experience with language, and in a way that you understand. And two, when you use big words, complicated sentences, you may not realize that you're doing that, but you're actually not being an inclusive writer. You're being a much more exclusive writer, right? You're keeping out an audience that may not have had the access to education that you might have had. And so I'm very much a big believer in using simple language, even if I have the perfect complicated word, but I also have an understanding that maybe not a whole lot of people know what that word is. There's a moment during my writing process where I have to think to myself, how is my audience going to interact with this language? Are they going to find it palatable? Are they going to find it easy to understand? And now, again, you can't be completely overwhelmed with the idea that you have to keep in mind every single word that your audience knows, but maybe you're going to come across a word that you certainly know that they don't know. And here's how you can manage that, and here's how you can handle it. You can define those terms. And so when we're talking about data narrative stuff and writing using data, a lot of the work that you're going to be doing is explaining your projects, explaining the statistics that you're using, and this is really, really good practice for once you're out there in the working world, and you might be writing to people in different departments, and a really bad move to make would be to assume that they know these things, or also sort of disparage them for maybe not knowing these things, right? So we want to be informationally fluent writers. We want to be inclusive writers. We want to make sure that all of our audience is here with us and we can kind of walk them through the stories that we're attempting to tell, right? These data stories, these data narratives. So I'm going to post a couple of resources on information fluency to help you begin thinking about whether or not you feel as though you're an informationally fluent writer, okay? So that's going to be in the resource link posted below.